Hey, beauties. Good evening to you, my wonderful people. You know, last evening I was watching the news and I was happy when the caption said, we must do everything. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember it verbatim. We must do everything to retain our teachers. And I know in fairly recent times they had imported about 29 teachers to teach Spanish and mathematics, I think it said. And I had done a video prior to say that that's all good and well when you have these different, for example, exchange programs. It's good when you have that sort of intercultural mix, that ethnic mix. I have no issues with that. But you have to be careful that you don't swarm the country with it, in the sense that because of you have the language barrier. I was speaking with somebody today, and the individual was sharing with me that they had gone to India on a training course, and people were from different countries. And there was one fellow who was quiet because he'd never understood the English language well. So he was very, very quiet when they had their different group meetings and so on, because he really didn't know how to communicate effectively and with them because of same. And you have to also understand that Jamaica is a very dynamic country. We have, everywhere has their own little innuendos, their own little jargons and fads, slangs and way how they say things, and you will understand what the person is saying. For example, Black Americans have a way that they communicate, that if I'm listening to some of the jokes, if they're not clear cut, like he's being really comical and hilarious and goofy, you won't get it if he was to go into his own dialect and say some things that only they would understand. Similarly, when we are engaging in our Creole or Patois, and we're saying it with a particular feeling and mode behind it, only Jamaicans or people who live here for long and experience us may understand it. And I'm saying that to say, when you come into the classrooms, you're still dealing with Jamaican people. And the language barrier, the accent barrier is another thing. When you cannot understand somebody because of their accent, it can become very problematic in terms of effective learning. I wouldn't necessarily want to say effective teaching, because maybe the teacher is effective, but unfortunately her effectiveness is his or her effective way may be ineffective to the recipient, to the receiver, because of the language barrier and the accent barrier. You have to do everything, powers that be, government officials, to retain your local teachers, your Jamaican teachers. You cannot be having them going away by the droves. And the reason has to do with treatment and compensation. And it is across the government, because I can bring in the civil servants, the nurses, and they all have the same cry. Look at, for example, the Civil Service Association, the Jamaica Civil Service Association. And they still have not gotten word with the Ministry of Finance for monies that should be given to them, owed to them, should be some things that should be reinstated and so on. And they cannot get voice. See, the Minister of Finance has taken on a new job. So we don't know what is happening, but I don't know, it behooves you to ensure that the teachers, the local teachers, do not leave. You can't assume that the importation of teachers will resolve and solve our issues. This year, the results aren't as rosy. Generally speaking, you may just have a year where it is very ad hoc, where you find that they do well in this or they do well in that, and then it goes back to square one again, because there is very little investment in the teachers, and by extension, the students. And this is not good. And parents, you have to, unfortunately, even with the workload and your personal load, you have to double up in ensuring that your daughters and your sons do well. The onus is really on you, mostly. The teachers are really support systems that take the burden off, in a sense, to teach them learning literacy in a structured manner, in a formal way. But you have to ensure that that information is cemented and solidified, engraved in their hearts and their souls and their minds. But government officials, you have to do all you can to retain the teachers. It makes no sense that they leave and then you import others, and because even if the others take whatever you're offering them, they're only doing it for a time, for a specific purpose, and then they go. when the pasture is greener, because they will be seeking greener pastures. They have no allegiance to us. They're not Jamaicans by birth. They have no allegiance, and they have no qualms in going back to where they're coming from or going to other countries. It cannot be good. I never thought I would ever see the day when I was growing up. Teachers never move until they're retired. They never move a muscle hard. We leave teachers, and and when you leave for many years, you hear that they're still there. You say, what the heck? What in the learning literacy is going on? And that's good. And no, the teacher is there today, tomorrow they're not there. I didn't even realize. Somebody said to me that every year they change the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association. I was stunned. And I said, but in its embryonic stage, it's almost like a premature baby. That like people having premature babies in droves. Because 1 year you're really just saying, okay, all right, I'm now in the job. My probation is over. And when you look, they're saying bye-bye to you and welcoming somebody else. I can't see the ration behind that. Because I'm thinking that when you have a solid leader in a particular area, it must create some kind of a change that will make the teacher stay where the retention is high. You have to ensure that retention is high, not just in the teaching world, but across public sector. Especially when you have people who are educated, they're capable, they're able, they're gifted, they're talented. Because let me tell you something, you may say that people are replaceable. Not really, in a sense they are, but it's more than just the competence. It's the person and what they offer, the attitude, everything behind it, the spirit. Come on, as in attitude of that person is significant. That is why in relationships you have a number of people who have regrets, because they assume that when they leave a good person that they're going to find back another one, and sometimes they never do. Sometimes they never ever do. And they regret. They say, why didn't I just try? Why didn't I let go of my selfish nature and put on a selfless one? It behooves you to ensure that the retention is high. Don't assume that, they go. You know how many places of employment regret having that kind of a mentality because they feel people are they're indispensable, and they're replaceable. Yes, maybe they can. Yeah, people will come in and do the work, but are they loyal? Are they devoted? Are they with good character, with integrity? You have to look at all these things with a good attitude, relate to people well, relate to customers well, relate to students well. They have that knack, that ability, that dynamic ingenuity to teach effectively or to chart our course properly or to be excellent customer service agents, whatever it may be. I remember I was working at a place who drove home customer service. We had to practice customer service morning, noon, and night. We had to eat it. We had to sleep it. We had to breathe it. And I said, what the heck is this? This is crazy. You know that after years later, because I never thought, I couldn't see the value in it. I didn't see the diamond in the rough. I didn't see the diamond in the rut. And years later, when I start to go to different entities, companies and business places, and I see a sort of a facade of what is customer service, I said, oh my God. I feel like the guy in Karate Kid, the first time Karate Kid, he couldn't understand the wax on and the wax off until Mr. Miyagi removed the scales from his eyes. And I realized that I was being taught something that is lifelong. Excellent customer service. I wish people would hire me to go around and teach people what it means to execute excellent customer service. And that is why people are irreplaceable. Treat the teachers right, treat the civil servants right, treat public sector workers right, so that the country can heal and grow. Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know. Jamaica. Guys, you know what to do. Read TikTok and YouTube. Have a good one.